Hi guys, it's always great to have you in class. Today we are going to review how energy flows through food webs and predict how changes in an ecosystem will affect food webs. So just a quick review. All food chains, food webs are going to begin with energy from the sun. The sun provides energy for the plants to grow, the producers. From the producers, you're going to have your primary consumers, which are those organisms that need to find food, and those are going to be your plant eaters. From your primary consumers, you're going to have your secondary and your tertiary consumers, and so on. The arrows in this food web represent how energy is passed on. So when you look at an arrow, you read that as passes energy to. So, for example, the plant passes energy to the robin, and then the robin passes energy to the merlin. Today, we're going to look at some changes in an ecosystem and make some predictions. A new neighborhood is being built right outside of Kerrville. And so construction crews have cleared the land to build new homes. Now, notice in our food web that the rabbits have lost their habitat. So they have a big X because they are no longer in this particular ecosystem and food web. As scientists, we can now predict the changes that would occur. For example, looking at the direct links from the rabbit, we'll look at the plants first. Because the rabbits will no longer be eating the plants, we would see more plants growing, an increase in plants. Let's look at the next link. It goes to the wolves. Because the wolves will no longer have their food source, they will no longer receive their energy, then the wolf population would most likely decrease because they will starve or go hungry. So we can see again an increase in plants, and we would see a decrease in wolves. Pesticides have been used on the grasses close to this pond. The pesticides have seeped into the pond water and killed the algae. Let's make predictions on how that would affect the food web. When we go to the algae, we're going to look at the links in front of and back of. Now, because the algae is a producer, we see that it is really the beginning of everything. And so we look at one link that goes to the minnow. If there is no algae, the minnow will have no food or energy source. So that minnow would decrease, or we would have less of. If there are no minnows, you can notice there would be a domino effect throughout the rest of the food web. A very large amount of crabs are being trapped and sold to local grocery stores for food. Let's look at how that would affect this particular food web. Let's make some predictions. We're going to look at the links right in front of and behind the crab. Let's start with the sea urchin. So the sea urchin provides energy or passes energy to the crab. The sea urchin is food for the crab. So if the crab is no longer there to eat the sea urchins, then the sea urchins would most likely increase in number because they are not being eaten. When we look on the other side of the crab, we can see that the crab provides energy to the toadfish, the spotted sea trout, and the dolphin. If those particular organisms did not have the crab as food for energy, we would predict that they would most likely decrease in number because they will have a harder time finding food. When you look at the toadfish, The crab is its only energy source or food. So we would definitely say that they would decrease in number because they won't have food to eat and maybe they would starve. As we look at the dolphin and the spotted sea trout, they do have other forms of energy that they do eat for food. We're still going to predict that their numbers would decrease, but they're going to have to go in search of additional pinfish if they want to continue to thrive and do well. But the first prediction is going to be they're decreasing because they are losing one of their food supplies. Thanks for listening. Y'all have done a great job at understanding and learning about how changes in an ecosystem will affect food webs. And you are going to get to try your hand at predicting some of those changes on your own next.